We are simply nature running off. You may or may not be familiar with this term, nature running off. I first heard this term from my great teacher, Ram Dass. I heard it about 50 times and I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. We are nature running off. Until I started practicing presence and purification. Until I started facilitating a state of peace, reconstituting and emptying my mind. This allowed me to create space to receive a deeper understanding of things like nature running off and standing in the center of the circle, right? What does this mean, we are nature running off? It means there is no control. There is no control, my friends. Control is an illusion. Control only exists in the thinking mind. We think we're in control. There is no decision to make. You're not making a decision. We are nature running off. We are chemistry and conditioning. Everything that happens is a result of our chemistry and our conditioning, right? Oh, I could think, oh, well, in college, I wish I didn't binge drink and get blackout drunk all the time in college. It was never going to be any other way. We can only ever make one decision, and that's based off our chemistry and our conditioning. My chemistry was depressed. My conditioning had me drink to deal with that, right? This is chemistry and conditioning. And we can only ever make one decision. I was always going to do that. Whatever happens was always going to happen because it happens. Whatever you do, you were always going to do. Whatever you don't do, you were never going to do. I hope that makes sense, right? There is no this or that. Well, okay, let's say if you do this, this was always going to happen. If you do that, that was always going to happen. If you do that, this was never going to happen. If you do this, that was never going to happen. Because the only thing because whatever happens, I'm getting confused in my own little game here. Whatever happens was always going to happen because it happens. So whether you take all the time to painstakingly think about things, plan, do this, search up, I'm going to study up on the interwebs, I'm going to watch all these videos, if you do that, or if you do nothing, it doesn't matter. Because it was always going to happen. If you do nothing, if you sit in a cave for 20 years, what was it? Well, the one guy in Autobiography of a Yogi, he meditated for like 25 years and found an even better secluded, isolated place and meditated for another like 30 years or something like that. It's ridiculous, right? And he was a sleepless yogi. He didn't sleep because he was meditating all the time, so he didn't need to sleep. And he could like give people a glimpse of cosmic consciousness just by like that. Anyway, he was always going to do that. He was never going to do anything else. So if you take this higher perspective, right, you can give it all up, right? Why do we get stressed? We get stressed because we think we're in control. Stress assumes control, right? And there is no control. We are nature running off. Back to this term. We are chemistry and conditioning. The game's already over. We're not making a decision. We're just attached to we're attached to the decision maker, the somebody, our ego. We think we're somebody doing something. We think we're in control. We think we know. But what happens if we stop thinking? We become our higher self. We become one with the divine, with God. Let's use the circle, my favorite reference tool. My circle, 10,000 steps, nice. It's sitting here, just going like this. Let my nature run off with my gangly arms here, looking at a circle. I got 10,000 steps. That was always going to happen, right? All right, to the circle. Stay in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. Don't get attached to thinking you're making decisions or you're in control. That's what that's saying. We're nature running off. All these things are saying the same thing, right? The center of the circle is the observer, thoughtless, detached, right? That's the center of the circle. That's the whole. That's where we really are. That's our higher selves. That's God. That's us being one with all. What happens when we enter the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information, and the illusion? It causes us to think, right? And as soon as we start thinking, we leave this oneness, this wholeness as the observer, and we enter the illusion. Because as soon as we start thinking, we think we're somebody doing something. We think we're in control. And this creates, we think we know. This creates a lower limiting perspective in the illusion. And we can only see from this lower perspective of thinking we're somebody doing something, thinking we're in control, thinking we know. We can only see. So there's everything else, right? When we're thoughtless, when we're the observer in the center of the circle, we're one with it all. We can see, we're the highest perspective. There's always a higher perspective. That's the perspective of God. Well, we got to stop thinking to get back to the whole. And every second we stop thinking, we dissolve the ego, which is keeping us, our somebodyness is keeping us in these lower limiting perspectives, and the illusion, which is keeping us in the cycles of suffering. As long as we're thinking, we're always going to get caught in the illusion in the cycles of suffering and the cycles of rebirth. So we have to come back to this beautiful higher perspective that frees us from all of it. We're just nature running off. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Whether you do this or that, it was always going to happen. So it doesn't matter what you do. It was always going to happen. Whatever you do was always going to happen. That's why there are no mistakes. There's only divine timing. It's wild, right? If we take this perspective, why do we get stressed out? Because we think we're in control. We get caught in the illusion. We think we're in control. Oh, here's that perspective. Oh, here comes stress. We're caught in the illusion. Here comes the cycles of suffering. What do we got to do? Presence and purification. Start dissolving that ego, the somebodyness that we're attached to, that we're identifying with that ego, or our ego self. Get back to the center of the circle, become the observer, realize there is no control. We don't have to think about anything. We don't have to try to do anything. We don't have to manifest everything. I get caught in these traps all the time. I should try to manifest something. Well, what are you talking about? It doesn't matter. Whatever happens is always going to happen. The only thing we got to do is surrender. To give all of our attention that is constantly being sucked from us by the illusion, the sea of stimulation, information, and aggravation. We have to give all this attention back to our Creator, back to God. God is patiently waiting for us to give up all of our attention. And that's when we become our higher selves, and that's when we allow the divine God, our cosmic beloved, to work through us. And that's when we're our highest, grooviest self. We're one with the divine. We have to give it all up. That's constantly what we need to be reminding ourselves. That's why I keep making the same video in slightly different ways, because I know I need to keep hearing it. This illusion is not going to ever stop trying to suck you back in with all the stimulation, aggravation, and information. It's never going to stop. It's going to try to keep you caught in the cycles of thought. So you think you're somebody doing something, and so you think you're in control, because that's going to keep you stressed out, and that's going to keep you caught in the cycles of suffering and stuck in the illusion, so they can use you as an energetic siphon for this low energy, because that's what they feed off of us. So to escape this whole thing, presence and purification. We got to purify the vessel. Two greatest devotions to God, presence and purification. Because we are God, so we have to purify. We have to take care of these bodies, not just what we eat. In every possible way, getting that fresh air, the sunshine, the grounding, exercise. We gotta move these bodies like they're designed to be moved, to keep them at the highest place of health, and eat how they're supposed to be eating. We can't be sitting down all day doing nothing. No, we got to move these bodies and respect them and make them strong. That's a devotion to God. And staying present, giving it all up. Next time you find yourself stressed, remember, it doesn't matter. I don't have to think. I just got to give it all up. I've never made a wrong decision. Everything's exactly how it was always going to be. It was never going to be any different. Because we are simply nature running off. Chemistry and conditioning. Thank you for joining me, my friends, for this brief chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.